So how's it going, my comic jet army? We're here today with Frank Martin, the creator of The Last Homicide, where the nightmares are. Let's see, uh, cabin 8, cabin 818, and what else am I missing?
I don't know. You could just pull stuff out of a hat. I got a book called The Truce, Malady. I was part of that whole hospice experiment last year. Grimm Space with Scout, Macabre Motel with CEX. So yeah, I put out some books recently.
Yeah, what have you been doing in the last 2 years since we talked?
Making comics and trying to get people to give me money for them. that's the name of the game. That's pretty much.
Yeah. So what comic do you have at Scout?
Grimm Space is my book with Scout. That's my fairy tale sci-fi mashup. So it's like if you take classic fairy tales and folk tales and you give them like a Star Wars spin on them. And so far, I put out Jack and the Beanstalk. Then I did Pinocchio, and I'm gonna lean on the series really hard in the future. So I have like 8 more coming out in the next like 16 months. So I'm really looking forward to it, and because it's my first big shared universe thing. You know, everybody knows me as the guy who puts out one shots and bounces around, and I'm like, you know what? It's Travis Gibbs' fault because he gives me a hard time about long form storytelling. He's like, yeah, you're just the one shot guy. You can't do any long form stories. So I'm like, screw you, Travis. I am going to put together my own MCU. And I'm looking forward to it. So that's basically what I'm doing. Each one is going to be a standalone, like its own movie, like its own MCU, but they have cameos and crossovers, and they're all going to come together like Avengers style in a big book at the end. So I'm looking forward to it.
Sweet. Did you start putting these out already?
Yeah, the first 2, the Jack and the Beanstalk one and Pinocchio, have been out. I have one that's launching this year, which I'm a little nervous about because it's the biggest single book I put out on Kickstarter. So Scout is going to break it up into 3 issues, but I'm going to kickstart them together as like a trade already. So it's 60 pages. I haven't done that yet on Kickstarter, which means I got to set my goal the highest it's been. And I'm nervous about it, but I'm also excited because it's something new, something different for me, what I feel is a step in the right direction.
Nice. And that's live right now?
No, that's May.
It's May?
That's going to be in May. Actually, I'm timing it up. I haven't really talked about this a lot, but I'm putting it out in May. And in May, I'm going to do for Free Comic Book Day. I'm actually doing Grimm Space twist on Steamboat Willie. I'm going to jump on that whole Steamboat Willie train, and now it's in the public domain, so it's going to be Spaceship Willie, a little Mickey Mouse in space.
No Winnie the Pooh?
Not yet. Not yet. I might get around there. There's too many great public domain characters.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah, I just looked up the Grimm Space. I remember seeing these covers, but I don't think I've read this yet.
It's fun.
I might have to check it out.
Yeah, check it out. And then so Pinocchio, I didn't really plan it as a big universe. It was Scout that kind of motivated me to do that, but I knew it had potential for that, so I would drop like Easter eggs in the first book as like little story threads that I could pull on. And once Scout said, we like it, do you have any interest in continuing it? I'm like, I set it up to continue it, but I wasn't planning on it, but sure. So the Pinocchio character who shows up in the first story, I then kind of spin him off into his own adventure. So yeah, it's cool to see something you thought early on had potential, and then kind of really blow it up to something big years later.
So are they both one shots? Are they both number ones?
Yeah, they're both one shots. I kind of designed them so that you could just pick them up and just start reading without any foreknowledge, similar to how a lot of the Marvel movies, even though they're part of the big universe and they have continuity, you could just start with Doctor Strange if you want, and just and even though you know nothing about Marvel, you could still follow along. So that's how a lot of these stories are going to be. And then in the end, I'm going to pull a whole bunch of the characters and put them in a story together. So So it'll be a payoff for people that have been following along the whole time.
I'm gonna have to check this out. Sounds really cool.
Tickling your fancy?
Yeah, I mean, it's different than everything else that everyone else is doing. You know?
Well, you know what? Kickstarter is weird in that if you have, let's say, a 4-issue series, people are running Kickstarters for 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it's kind of like if you know that 4 is going to be coming down the line, you could just wait for 4 and then pick them all up and read the story together. Grimm Space, even though it's similar, where all the stories are building off of each other, each new launch is going to be a brand new story with brand new characters. So it's almost like we're building momentum, but we're also starting from scratch each time. So it'll be pretty cool. I'm going to do all Grimm Space launches next year. So that's I'm really doubling down on it, and I do 6 a year. So it's going to be an interesting year.
6 a year. That's a lot.
So yeah, so that means even though I just had one that wrapped up, which was Where the Nightmares Are, and I have Grimm Space in May, I have a launch in March too. So that's where my next one is.
I'm assuming all the books are finished. You just got to kickstart them and print them.
They're close to finished. So yeah, I was just talking about this with somebody yesterday. When you make comics, I feel like Dr. Manhattan in a way. You know how he exists in all times, all years at the same time? So I have to be now, like crowdfunding comics, but I also have to be next year getting art and lettering stuff. And I also have to be planning the year after that. So I'm like existing in the future at all times at once. It's a bizarre feeling to plan that far ahead and have things in so many different stages.
Oh, I can imagine. I think it would drive you nuts a little bit, but it'd be cool when it all falls into place, you know?
Sticky notes help, and whiteboards in order to keep track of it all.
You've got a day job, right? You don't do comics full time?
I write, so I got a whole bunch of other stuff that I do to draw income through writing. I write articles and SEO analysis stuff, but I work with words, is what I tell people.
Okay.
So keeps me busy.
The Kickstarter version to the Scout version, are they going to be a little bit different?
So the very first one, which was Jack and the Beanstalk, the Scout version was colored, and when I Kickstarted, it was black and white. So that's a big difference. Also, Scout is really big on covers. So they say everything has to have a different cover. So Scout put out a whole bunch of covers, and even though they were excited about putting out different covers, they would still take the Kickstarter cover and they would just alter it and change it, and so it's different versions of the same cover. So they're pretty good at putting out different products. And like I said, for the one that's launching this year, Scout's putting out 3 single issues. Mine's going to be a trade, so it's going to be different on that front. But we have little tweaks that we do to make them kind of different.
Okay. Where are you going to be at this year?
Con wise?
Yeah. What con's coming to?
Not many. I'm doing. There's the first annual Indie Comic Creator Con in Connecticut, where it's like geared specifically for indie guys. It's a 1-day con. Who knows how it's going to be? If it's going to be hugely successful, but I'm going to be there, hanging out with people, spouting my books. And I have a local con that I'm planning on signing up on here in Westchester, New York. So I don't know, maybe New York Comic Con, attend as a just a fan hanging out, but it's hard getting to cons, man. You got a wife who runs a business and 3 kids, and you traveling and staying places and food and gas and all that other nonsense.
It adds up really quick.
Yeah, it's hard getting away from the family for a weekend when they have so much going on and they need me. So it's yeah, which is hard because I feel like conventions is the best place. You get FaceTime with a lot of the people in the industry. You can network and hang out and talk craft and stuff like that. It looks like a lot of fun when people post pictures.
Yeah, I was going to ask, was you going to MegaCon, but I don't think you are this year, are you?
No. I looked into it a little bit to see if maybe I could make it happen. They do not make it easy for people to try to like get into a convention, either at a discounted ticket or to get a table. the people who run the cons, it's just, I don't know if it's a supply and a demand issue where they just have more creators that they can feature than they can. Like they just get a whole bunch of applications. Also, the con business is difficult by itself. You know, the prices are going up and up and up, and it comes to the point where, I mean, I talked to a whole bunch of other creators, and it's just sometimes it just doesn't make financial sense.
Yeah, I think someone else was telling me about that. That they was thinking about sharing a table with another creator.
There's a lot of pros to being there, such as it's hard to put a monetary value on your mailing list. You know, if you put out something for people to sign up and you get a whole bunch of names and they might buy stuff from you later on, it's hard to weigh that. So partnering with somebody at a table is definitely a great way to kind of just mitigate the costs, yet still be there, get the benefits of FaceTime and mailing list signups. But yeah, when you tally up actual dollars and cents, it's hard to justify a lot of things in the comic industry.
Yeah. Where can people pick your books up? You got a website?
I do. FrankTheWriter.com. I've been working on it a lot recently now that I'm kind of trying to step back from social media a little bit. I have a whole bunch of free reads on there for people to check out if they are just interested in me, but they don't want to give me money yet. Do have a store, mailing list sign up on there. I also have a little link. I put out like free weekly stories, like little web comics and short 100-word stories that I try to post online to keep things interesting and engaged. So I have kind of a way to hook up with that. So, but yeah, I made it a little bit of a home base for myself, that I have a place to direct people to try to figure out who I am.
Sweet.
It's easier too when you're talking to people and they're like, "What do you write?" And I'm like, "Just go to the website and look at stuff, because I don't want to talk to you right now." I have to answer the same question a million times, and it does get annoying. So just peruse at your leisure.
You should just make a little template that you could just copy and paste and send to people. Boop.
Yeah.
Or when people message you, you should be like, "Hey, these are the 4 most commonly asked questions," and just answer them right there. You know?
Yeah. Especially since I bounce around so much in genres. It's like specific genres have specific questions that they get asked. But when they look at my stuff and they're like, "Wait, you did a horror book and a sci-fi book and a noir book and a kid's book," they're like, "I don't know what question to focus on." So people they're like, "What do you do with all this stuff?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I like all this stuff, so I write it. I don't know why I do it. I get an idea and I run with it. I'm not that sophisticated."
And you're not just painting yourself into one box, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's nice when you're talking to somebody and they're like, "What do you write?" And I say, "I write everything. What are you into?" You know, I could direct somebody to something of my work that they feel would resonate with them. It's kind of hard when you're a horror writer and the guy says, "I love comedies," and they're like, "Do you like to get scared too?" Because it's nice to be able to have something for everybody.
Oh, dead or alive, who would you like to make a comic book with? Your dream team.
Is writer or artist?
Both.
Both. Okay. I would like to. I forget his name, but right now I'm very intrigued by the guy behind Ice Cream Man. His name Maxwell Prince.
I think so.
You're like, I just have it right here.
Yeah, right. I thought I'd just seen an Ice Cream Man.
I mean, I've just started reading his work recently, but it's stuck with me because I do a lot of the same stuff, horror, one shots, kind of shared universe. It was intriguing to me, and it's not just he was putting out great stories. He was taking ideas and stretching them and playing with them, and I just appreciate that both as a reader and a comic creator. And I would just love to throw nonsense around with him and just like kind of figure out like something wild and crazy. As far as artists go, that's hard. There's so many great ones. I'll be boring. I'll pick Jim Lee. He's probably the greatest superhero artist like that I could think of. besides the classics, the guys who built the industry up, is when I think of just iconic superhero shots, he can really pull it off. So I kind of just want to let him go nuts with a lot of stuff and just see what he could do.
Um, I liked the Ice Cream Man, and I liked that book that he did. Ha ha.
I've only read Ice Cream Man from him, but I liked it enough for me to say that, because Ice Cream Man is also not just one thing. Every story is different, so it's not like he's just taking you in one direction. He's got a central hub that he's taking you in a million different directions. But I'll definitely have to make it a priority to check out more of his stuff.
Yeah, I found out about it late. It was already in, I think, the late 20s issues. Might have been like 25, 26. I found out about it. And by then, like, it went nuts, and everybody was going crazy over it.
What was that? Aha, that thing, or what?
Ice Cream Man.
I don't know what issues they're on because I get them in volumes. I'm a library guy, so I go to the library to see what they have on the shelf. So I never, especially with that one, it's hard to keep track of issues because everyone is a new story. So it's hard to tell, like, you can't keep track of arcs and stuff. It's easier to do that with like Marvel stuff. So I have no idea how many issues put out, but I've read a bunch of the volumes.
Who's some up and comer indie comic book creators that's happening right now?
Up and coming indie comic creators.
Who's some of your favorites?
I don't talk about the competition.
Okay.
No, whose work that I really dig, that I'm into.
Yeah.
Caleb Palmquist puts out great books. I like his stuff. He does Unicorn Vampire Hunter. He's done the modern mythology stuff. Very kind of fun, wholesome books that I'm into. Who else? I mean, Travis, of course, got a lot of stuff. He's bouncing around all over the place. He never slows down. So I love when I'm definitely check out their stuff whenever they're on the market.
Right. Is there anything you want to say before we go?
No, just that it's always great to come on, talk shop, talk industry with yourself, and look forward to that March to 200.
And we gotta get you back a lot sooner than 2 years.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Maybe make this a anniversary tradition.
Thank you for taking the time to come talk with me, Frank.
Awesome, always. Thank you for having me.
What? You mean you haven't subscribed to Comicchatauthority? Oh, come on, subscribe already. What are you waiting for? It's no big deal. Like, man, don't forget to tell him to hit that like button. Yeah, that too. Just subscribe.